Welcome to Healthy Heart, and hello, hello, beautiful lady. I am so excited that I talked to you once. I
Mhm.
haven't met you, touched you, but I feel like I feel you. And I'm
Same.
so grateful that you're here and that I'm getting to get you on this front end before you blow up. But don't ever forget Cha Cha, because
I
when you
will
blow
never
up,
forget.
okay. Okay, good. So you are a friend of Robin and Jika, and they are my babies, the most creative young ladies.
Yes.
Whoo, I can't wait till they break out and break loose.
Me
But
too.
anyway, that's another story.
Right.
So I'm gonna let you introduce yourself, your name, but you are an up and coming author that I can't wait to see what's gonna happen in your life more than you can even imagine. It excites me to see how God does his God thing and how he increases and how he gives you a desire and then he fulfills the desire. So what's your name, young lady?
My name is Jaira Ryland. I'm 23 years old, born in Jeffersonville, raised in the south side of Louisville, Kentucky. So, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yes, ma'am. Yay. So one thing that I love to hear, just tickles me pink, is everybody that I speak to, I always ask your first heart smile, your internal smile that you can recall, because we can smile on the outside, but sometimes we can be toe up from the floor up on the inside.
Right.
So, it's not a given that, you know, everybody gets to have them, but I just pray that everybody at least has one. So the first one that you can remember, and what was it?
My first heart smile. Um, my first heart smile was actually in a midst of chaos and loneliness. But when I was 17 years old, I had the opportunity to go on a European tour with the Kentucky Ambassadors of Music. So we went to 7 countries in Europe, and before we went on the tour, my house caught on fire and we lost everything, me and my family. And about a month later, I'm in Paris, right? That was like the second country, and my phone had actually got water damage. So I couldn't have any contact with my parents hardly. And that was kind of like the last straw. I know it sounds horrible, but I didn't have my phone. And I remember being in Switzerland, and it was July, and it was very cold for it to be July in the summertime. And I remember all my friends asking me, my roommates, like, hey, you want to go out and explore the village? And I was like, no, I think I need to stay here. And I don't think anybody was in that cabin that we were in. It was just me. And I just remember being in my room and being in complete solitude. And it was just literally me, nature, and God. It was just an experience. And I just cried the whole time because I think at that moment, that's when I had finally broke. And even though I was crying and I was just, sobbing in that moment, it was just, at that moment, I realized that I was alive. And even though I had nothing at that time, I had everything. And even after all of that, I could do nothing but smile. It just warmed my heart to the fullest. So,
Girl, that's deep. I've got chills. How that could be a smile, it had to
yeah.
be internal to be
hmm
able to realize. And oh, I really did. I think I've only been doing this for a little bit, but I think you about the first one that gave me chills with that, because I'm like, my God, none of that sounds smellable. But
yeah.
I see, that's
yeah.
amazing.
hmm
How old or how did you realize that you had writing skills, or you was creative, or was it just like something you've always just you ever have a epiphany where you just like, oh, I'm a writer or I'm creative? How did that happen?
I've been writing as long as I can remember. I remember English was always my favorite subject. I grew up in everyone in my family, my mom, my dad, my grandfather, my grandmother, everyone's creative in their own way. And, so I grew up around creativity a lot, which had a lot to do with it. But I remember being about 7 years old, and my grandfather asked me to write a poem. And I did it as a joke because I thought it was lame and corny, as the fad was back when I was younger. And I wrote the poem as a joke. And he looked at it and he was like, wow, like, this is deep. And I was like, it's just a poem about a tree. You know, I don't understand what you mean. And he was like, no, like, this is great. And ever since then, I took big breaks. I started back when I was in college. And I just kind of kept doing it every now and then. It was just something, again, I've always done all my life, until last year. I just started looking through all my poems, and I was like, what am I going to do with this? You know, like, what is my purpose for me writing all these collection of poems since I was a child? You know, what am I supposed to do with it? So I prayed to see God on that answer. And I mean, at that instant, that's when I knew. I mean, he gave me the title of the book, and it's not something that I really wanted to do. You know, I never grew up thinking I would be an author. You know, it was just something I was doing just to express myself. And yeah, last year he gave me the vision to do it, and I've just been chasing after it ever since.
That's profound. So you kept all your works just, and you just held on, but you didn't really have a purpose, but you held on to it until the Lord. So that was, we talked the other night about a divine hookup where so before that, before he woke you up, how was you operating, sleepwalking and working versus now you're awake? Did you see a distinct difference with your writing skills since you've been awake versus when you were asleep writing? Any differences?
Right. Yes, most definitely. So as I was sleep writing, I was mostly doing off of inspiration. And I'm that type of friend where everyone comes to for advice. So I'm always helping somebody, and I always wanted to be transparent. So I would take other people's feelings. Like, some of the things that I wrote is not even about me, it's about my friend, or, you know, what she was going through. And I was just doing it because of that. You know, in college, we freshmen, sophomores, a lot going on. It's a lot to discuss. And I was just writing it as inspiration. I didn't really care about, you know, the delivery of it. I was just writing it, you know, whatever rhymes with this. And me consciously writing now, it's very, I'm very particular now as a writer, because now I'm not thinking about myself. I'm thinking about how it makes you feel. How does it make, you know, this person feel, or what perspective am I not thinking about what I'm writing? Because as a writer, my entire purpose, I feel like, is to have everyone feel included. And it's almost impossible, but to make as many people as I can feel included in my work, where you can see yourself, no matter what your situation is, you can see yourself in my work. So now I consider that when I'm writing. I didn't consider that before, per se.
That's good stuff. When you're writing now, or then anytime, did you have to have a special location or go to this place or that place, and you just walk around with a pen and paper? How does that work for you?
I do, you know, with it being, I'm a millennial, so I would, you know, type on my phone normally. And then my mom, she's always encouraged me. She's a journalist, so she's always journaling stuff. And she always told me, Jay, you need to write your stuff down. You need to write it down in a book, you know. And I was like, you know, it's faster to just type it on my phone. So normally I would do that. And then I actually started seeing a change in my work when I would write down my poems. So I do have a book where I write it down. But normally I notice as a writer, I have to be surrounded by energy when I'm writing. I work better in chaos. As weird as that sounds, I can't work in complete silence. So normally I would write my poems a lot when I was at work, or if I'm just out and about, or the busiest time is when I get the most, you know, profound ideas to write. So yeah, usually I have to be surrounded by a lot of energy to write. Yeah.
That's amazing. So when you write, do you normally write from the ending to the beginning, or you just write and get where you go and see where you're at, if that makes any sense?
Yes, most definitely. I've tried that before. And sometimes I've come to the point where I can write things down and be okay with it not being finished. Because at first my whole entire idea was, if I start it, I have to finish it, because I'm not going to feel the same way that I feel now. And actually, you know, I just let go. And even if I write something for like a paragraph, I'll leave it. And maybe 2 months later, I'll write another paragraph and it just fits together, you know, at the end. So it's kind of like my work is like puzzle pieces. Like you never know how it's going to work. You know, I'll write a stanza like 2 months ago, and then another 4 months pass and I write an entire poem. I'm like, wow, this actually connects together. So I will put my poems together, and it's just crazy how my mind just bounces back and forth between time. Like, you know, who would have thought that maybe I could write something today and it won't make sense until 6 months from now. So
that's profound. So you don't rush your work. You let it
mm-hmm.
come together however
Yes.
it's designed to come together.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned that your family's creative, your parents, your grandparents. So out of any of them, any characteristics you see that you may have gotten from either anybody in particular, something that you see in yourself?
I would have to say my grandfather. My grandfather, he's the one that really, I clicked with him when it came to being artistic. For one, he's always been that one person to really push me to write. And he taught me how to play my first instrument, which was the djembe. So I'm very into music as well. And he's just very, I guess he's just on this intellectual level. And he pointed that out in me as a kid, and I didn't understand that. And now that I'm older, I understand what he saw in me as a kid, and he was just kind of letting it brew. And anything I was into fashion, he supported me with the fashion thing, and he's just very all around. Now my grandmother, she's into baking, so she's just a visual artist per se. And my mom, she makes natural bath products, and she's just she likes to she's internally creative. But as far as being creative in different formats, I would have to say my grandfather.
Wow. You know, sometimes when I think of creativity, I think when you said music, I'm like, if you're not an artist, you don't understand there's so many dimensions to that.
Yes.
And so that's profound. So you play an instrument also?
I play a few. My primary instrument is the flute. That's the instrument that I studied consistently for years. So
wow.
Yeah.
So do you have any projects going now, or anything that we can look forward to, or do you have anything that we can look at as the audience? Because I can't wait to read. I'm feeling the spirit. I'm loving it now.
Yes.
I'm ready to see the project or some projects, or is anything coming soon?
Yes, so I have two things that I'm working on. Well, one finishing up. So if you've ever heard of it, there is this platform, a poetry platform called Button Poetry. And every year they have this grand video contest for short films. And initially I wasn't going to do it, and then I was talking to Robin after some things that I had went through personally, and we were like, yeah, we have to do it. So today's actually the deadline, so I have to submit it today. So I will most likely drop the video tomorrow. It is called the Rinse and Repeat.
So
Yes.
when you say drop it, since I'm 65, that means we can see it tomorrow.
You can see it. Yes, it'll be up on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, you name it. It's going to be on all the platforms. And yeah, it's just about the cycle that we go through as African Americans and Black Americans and here in the United States of this America. You know, it's nothing new. I'm not telling you anything new. You've seen it, you've heard it. The video is to more so make you feel, because you can't, you can't run from your heart. You can't run from your feelings. You can deny it all you want to verbally, but you can't run from that feeling. So that's what we were targeting when we were creating this video, this film. And I'm just excited for people to see it, so people can, it may change their perspective. It may make them reflect or think, or make them want to change or do something to help. So yeah, I have that coming up, hopefully tomorrow for sure.
Okay. And so I need any correct spelling? How do I find it? How do you find it?
When you say it, okay.
And I'm going to write it down, and I'm going to post it as well. And maybe when I put this up, you can tag, because those of us that may not be as savvy, I'm a baby boomer. It's like, I don't, okay, yes ma'am, spell it, tell it, I'm ready.
So the short poetry film, the Rinse and Repeat,
Rents, R-E-N-T-S?
RINSE,
Okay.
and repeat, REPEAT.
Okay.
And it's going to be up under my name, Jaira Ryland, Jiara.
Okay.
Last name is RYLAND.
Okay.
Yeah. And it
That's
should
good.
pop right on up once I release it.
So that'll be tomorrow when we get up and get mobile. Now,
Yes.
since we're talking about the film, I'm just curious. Girl, how you dealing at 23 with this protest and all the racial tension? What's your thoughts? How you handling it? Because at 23, I know how I'm dealing at my age, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But then sometimes younger people, I see you guys, not you specific, but young people out there protesting and etc. I'm like, so how are they really dealing? How